So Megan Rapinoe says suffering injury is proof that God doesn't exist. That's ridiculous. Megan Rapinoe being a Victoria's Secret model, now that's evidence that God doesn't exist, as well as just the existence of women's soccer in general. It says here, you got to find the silver lining and dark humor, and that's just who I am as well. Well, thanks for telling us just who you are. And let me tell you, there's nothing more charming than somebody who's constantly telling you that that's just who I am. But what happened here? What was this tragedy? During the final match of her career, Rapinoe of OL Reign injured her leg in the early minutes of Saturday's game against Gotham FC. And yeah, I've never heard of any of that either. She said, quote, "I'm not a religious person or anything, and if there was a God, this is proof there isn't. This is effed up." And she said that in her post-game interview on Saturday. And apparently she tore her Achilles tendon. And I guess it is pretty effed up. I mean, a 38-year-old woman injuring herself in a competitive sport? Who ever heard of something like that? She said, you got to find the silver lining and the dark humor, and that's just who I am as well. Now, the thing about Megan Rapinoe is that people only know her name because she's a media darling. She's been manufactured by the media. And the fact of the matter is that women's soccer is just not very popular. The average attendance for her own team is 6,844 per game. But you know what? On the bright side, that's definitely competitive with Ultimate Frisbee. But, it's not exactly, right in the middle of the sports radar. But you would know even less than you know now about women's soccer if it weren't for the media trying to ram women's sports down our throats constantly. And I'm not against women's sports. I like women's tennis. I think there's some great female MMA fighters. I'm just saying, we should let things succeed on their own merits and stop with the social engineering stuff. Now, it says here that Rapinoe has famously been no stranger to expressing her opinions on and off the field. In September 2016, Rapinoe refused to stand for the national anthem and instead opted to take a knee, similar to former San Francisco 49ers NFL player Colin Kaepernick. Because I guess being a media-created celebrity based entirely on her identity, apparently, and signing a bunch of endorsement deals for the same reason, that's such a raw deal. Quote, quite honestly, being gay, thanks for letting us know that. Now we know we're not allowed to criticize you. But, and I have to be honest here, we kind of figured that out on our own. But anyway, I have stood with my hand over my heart during the national anthem and felt like I haven't had my liberties protected. Well, I guess there's never been a better time to start up a women's league in Afghanistan, has there? And I'm sure they love the arrogant lesbians there. In 2019, Rapinoe similarly said she would probably never put her hand over her heart or sing the national anthem again. She said she was, quote, a walking protest when it comes to the Trump administration because of everything I stand for. Quote, I feel like it's kind of defiance in and of itself to just be who I am and wear that jersey and represent it. Yeah, tell that to the women in Iran who took their headscarves off. I'm sure they'll be in full empathy in support of your defiance. Quote, because I'm as talented as I am, I get to be here, and you don't get to tell me if I can be here or not. You're completely made up by the media. If it weren't for the media just picking you as their darling, nobody would know who you are. But anyway, so it's kind of a good FU to any sort of inequality or bad sentiments that the Trump administration might have towards people who don't look exactly like him. It's nonsense. These people are insane. Trump was the first presidential nominee to ever hold up a rainbow flag at the national convention of either party. So what on earth are you talking about? But anyway, she continues, which, God help us if we all look like him. Scary, really scary, disturbing. Really? Yeah, what do they say about glass houses again? So what you have here is not a rebel or somebody who cares about inequality or bad sentiments. You have somebody who knows which way the wind is blowing and who just went with it. knowing that there was absolutely no risk to her whatsoever. There was only benefit. She could only profit by being an arrogant, narcissistic virtue signaler. Don't take my word for it, take hers. Quote, "I'm exactly the brash, arrogant athlete that Americans love." Megan Rapinoe believes her haters list is close to none. And of course she's got this actually wrong anyway. Normal people like confident, even brash. They can even be brash, but they like a bit of humility mixed in with that as well. It's the brash, arrogant narcissist that fans love to cheer against. And if there's one thing we've learned over the last while, it's that just because the media loves you doesn't mean that anybody else does. So after having said all of this, I may have to reconsider something actually. Her tearing her Achilles heel on her final game in the championships? Actually, maybe God does exist after all. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. Sharing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.